We are running out of time. What are you going to do with the time you have left? I say that if you don't reposition yourself, you could miss the best time in your life, in this season of life. Because we have got to change the way we think. We have got to change the way we function. We have got to change the way we deal with issues. And the reason that you have to begin to reposition the way you think and the way you function and the way you feel is that we many times are stuck between the lines of limited thinking and limited people and limited ideas and limited philosophies, and there's something creative down inside of you saying, let there be. You need to walk into a situation where you've been locked up and tied up and tangled up and say, let there be light, let there be healing, let there be books, let there be change in this city. You have tried 4 or 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different things. Each you worked on 90 days or so and then said it doesn't work. How can you be a leader with a 90-day test? Of course it didn't work. You didn't stick to it long enough. You didn't fight hard enough. You didn't do what it took to win, and rather than to correct it and get it right, you walked away from it and tried something else. And for the last 10, 15 years of your life, you've been on the run from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, trying to make all this stuff work. Stop it. Stand still. You have to have the courage to live with the pressure and the criticism. New levels bring new devils. You have to be tough. You have to be tough to be able to stand it. It's tough for keeping your kids encouraged while you secretly worried to death yourself. It's tough for getting ready for a birthday and don't have a birthday gift. It's tough of not being able to get the light bill paid and the water bill paid. It's tough. But what do we do with these moments? Do we just have them and go back home and wait for the next one? Almost like junkies getting a fix or smokers smoking a cigarette? Are we just habitually addicted to moments without being able to take that moment and use it strategically to do something in our lives? You do not have to accept it the way it is. Somewhere down inside of you there is creativity. We've got to break out of the barriers and the limitations and get outside of the box. Something is about to happen in your life. You've got to take it one day at a time. And when you get to the end of the day, you say, I'm not finished, but I've done everything that I was supposed to do for that day, for that time, for that season. Your season is shifting. You will be able to do now in a way that you have never been able to do it before. You haven't sung your best song. You haven't preached your best sermon yet. You haven't thought your greatest thought. You haven't written down your greatest idea. You haven't dreamed your best dream. Baby, you haven't laughed your best laugh. You haven't had your greatest day yet. It's somewhere inside of you. You're a miracle looking for a place to happen. You have got all kinds of things locked up inside of you that are about to come forth for such a time as this. The time is right. The stage is set. The conditions are in order, and something awesome is about to happen in your life. Don't let anybody tell you you're too young. Don't let anybody tell you you're too old. Don't let anybody tell you you're fitted. Every day you wake up in the morning, it's a sign the best is yet to come. This is my moment, and I am determined to live it. The mind is the battleground. The fight is in your mind. Are you ready for the next level? What are you going to do with the time you have left? you live very long at all of your youthful idealism gives way to the harsh realities of life itself. When you were a teenager, you thought you knew everything. But when you got to put everything in practice, you found out it wasn't as easy as you thought it was. Life has a way of making you close your mouth. Life will mute you, shut you down. Because all of us, if you live long enough, will go through a period of feeling so overwhelmed that you think of one more thing, if the phone rings one more time, if I get another text, if I get another email. Sometimes I question technology. I appreciate all the advances, but I don't need another way for anybody to be able to access me. I doubt there are very many people in this room that aren't experiencing some degree of being overwhelmed by life itself. There are moments in your life that you feel overwhelmed by life, by people, by your own issues, by your own circumstances, by demands, by struggles, and yes, by temptations. It's not long before you feel overwhelmed. What is hiding in you that you have not seen? What strength are you underutilizing that you're letting that weak thing whip you like that? How long will you live without knowing what you've got? If you know who you are, then you know who you are not. If you don't know who you are, somebody can ascribe any identity onto you and you will morph into whatever they want you to be. And that's what has happened with a whole lot of us. Some of us have been 10 or 12 different people depending upon who we were with. Because we don't know who we are, we become whoever they want us to be. And then when they leave us, we are confused because we have no real understanding. We like to think that life comes to us in courses, but it does not. In reality, sometimes you got 10 issues and they all hit you in the same weekend. You may not like what you're going through. You may be stressed and overwhelmed. You may not be comfortable with your situation, but you got what it takes. What do you do when life does not seem fair? How do you deal with it when it is not what you expected? When you find yourself with mighty visions and mighty goals dealing with people of mediocrity. You're gonna make it out of this storm. You will survive this attack. You will get through this stage in your life. I know I'm made of some good stuff. I can tell by the burdens I bear and the load I carry and the stuff I endure. I shock myself at what I'm able to take. It's not just that I shock my enemies, I shock myself. They said I was going to die and I believed it, but through hell and high water, I'm still here. You don't know what you've got until all hell breaks loose. You don't know what you can take until the pressure is applied to your life. You don't know what you can endure until people stab you in the back and walk away from you. You don't know how much courage you have until you've been under fire and under struggle and under tribulation. You can't learn what's in you sitting back in a lazy boy chair hitting the remote control, watching HBO and Cinemax. But when all hell breaks loose, that's when you get to see what you got. Experience kills off the weaknesses. Your childishness begins to die. Your fear begins to leave. Because what you're going through does not intimidate me. It intimidates you. You can quit if you please. You can even take what you got and give it away to 70 other people. But you got what it takes. Because whatever you gave them came from you. You have what it takes. What are you going to do with the time you have left?
I like something Les Brown said once. He said, there are losers and there are people who haven't learned how to win. My question to you is this: which one are you? Are you a loser or are you still learning how to win? If you're a loser, it doesn't mean that you're less than. It could mean that you've gotten really good at quitting. It could mean that you've gotten really comfortable ending your race before the finish line. You have your reasons for not finishing, and I've had mine too. But right here, right now, the question is, do you want to win? I know you're going to say yes, because most people want just that. They want to win. And if you're like me, you're still learning how to win. So when the losses start piling up, the natural inclination is to say, it's too hard. I can't do this. I quit. It's a natural urge to want to give up and to walk away. I get it. Nobody wants to be committed to something they're losing at, to an area that's defeating them. Nobody wants that. But we still want to win. But the strange thing about winning is that sometimes it looks like losing. It looks like frustration. It looks like anger. It feels like betrayal. It's so bizarre that sometimes winning can even feel like depression. This may sound strange to you, and that's because you're still learning how to win. You're still learning that winning is a process. Winning is not the suspense and the magic of Game 7. It's not even the highs and lows of the season. It's the sweat, the tears, the anxiety, and the mixed pains of each player on that court from the moment all those years ago they decided they wanted to be a ball player. It's the pain, but it's also the joy. Winning is about the lows, and it's also about the highs. Winning is a process. So why can't you win? I've told you that winning is hard, but you knew that. You knew that. I've told you that sometimes winning looks strange, but you suspected that. I've even told you that winning is a process, but you're figuring that one out already. So let me say what I came here to say. It's something Eric Thomas said. Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. Everybody wants to be a beast. Everybody wants to be a winner until it's time to do what winners do. Eric Thomas, E.T., this guy is a winner. His entire being roars, I came here to win, period. No excuses, no compromise, no settlement. I came for the win. Now, I know there are people out there who are just as driven and just as radical in their belief about winning as he is. But when E.T. opens his mouth and says, this is where I'm going, watch out, because you're not running for gold anymore. You're running for silver. But let me tell you the truth. You do know how to win. You know everything it takes to win. You've heard it all before. You've seen it before. Some of you have lived with it before. I don't really have anything to add to your list of what it takes to win. Neither does Tony Robbins, Les Brown, or anyone else out there. This is why I said watch out. Watch out for E.T. Eric Thomas may not have anything new to tell you about winning, but he always has something new to show you about winning. I've never seen anyone deliver themselves with as much heart as E.T. does. I dare you not to be moved when you hear this man talk. I dare you. I don't mean get emotional. I mean move. You hear him speaking and that energy hits you. And you can't stay still. You want to get up, you want to do something, you want to do anything. It's not really what he says. It's how it hits you. No filters, no sugarcoating, no gloves, bare knuckle. And we need that sometimes. It doesn't matter how good we are. Sometimes we dance around our issues. We don't get to it. A friend of mine who hadn't spoken to her mother in 7 years because of some bad rubbish that made her feel slighted and resentful called me one day. She said, last night I spoke with my mother for 2 hours. I said, really? What happened? What changed? She said that she was reading an essay by one of her students. And there was a quote in there by some guy called Eric Thomas that said, I'm not minimizing your problems, but I'm saying if life knocked you down 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and you are still on the ground, we've got a problem. I said, really? She said, yeah. She said, I realized that it was bad enough that I was still on the ground after 7 years. But I was on the ground and still in the same spot. After 7 years, I could have at least rolled to a different place on the ground. She'd had enough. Something about those words got into her, and she knew that she had to do something. What I'm trying to help you see is that Eric Thomas's gift isn't his ability to speak or to persuade you. His gift is his ability to open his heart and to use it to expand his passion. He's got heart. We've all heard that before. When someone is deliberately exuding purpose and passion unapologetically, we say they've got heart. But what does that mean? What does that exactly mean? When people say you've got heart, they're often responding to something external about you. But what they're observing externally is evidence of something profound that's happening internally. Internally, your heart is open. That means that you've deliberately gone out of your mind and gotten into your feelings. You've gotten into your feelings. This means that you've put ego aside. And for most of us, ego looks like pride. It looks like disappointment, fear. It looks like could have beens and should have beens. If you can do that, if you can intentionally find that quiet and calm space inside of you, what will happen next will surprise you. You discover that you have access to an inner technology, a different sort of guidance. People have called it the inner voice, and most of us know it as intuition. I'm talking about heart coherence. I'm not speaking poetically when I talk about heart. This isn't wishful thinking or beautiful sounding nonsense. I'm talking about energetics. I'm talking about what scientists at places like Heart Math Institute have been studying for decades. I'm talking about the information people like Greg Braden and Dr. Joe Dispenza have been empowering people with for years. You see, the least of what the heart does is pump blood. Most of you don't realize that your heart is surrounded by a field of measurable electrical and magnetic energy. A field of energy that extends beyond your heart and into the physical world. It may actually reach out for miles. You know the benefits of being able to tap into your mind. But the energetic field that surrounds your brain is tiny compared to the one that surrounds your heart. So when you hear people talking about the heart mind, you should know that they're talking about something even more powerful than the mind. When you hear them talking about coherence, they're talking about the quality of the signal that the heart mind is sending to the local everyday mind. When you hear heart, I want you to think of Eric Thomas, because that's what he does so well. His heart is open. He's tapped into a steady stream of intuitive information and suggestion. He's in sync. So when you hear him, he's out of his mind, so it doesn't sound like persuasion. He's into his heart, so it feels like infection. It gets into you because he's connecting to your heart field. That's why you feel like you've got to move and that you've got to do something. He's bringing his heart space into your world. Let me put it like this. You're riding his Wi-Fi signal, so you feel that energy. You don't feel it in your head, you feel it in your heart. You see, I know I've lost some people. Some people aren't open to this sort of reality, this sort of understanding. Some people refuse to accept or even try to make sense of a reality beyond what they can see. These are the same people complaining that they can't win. These are some of the same people desperate for something new, anything new from life. Well, I came to tell you that there's an inner game to play, and the reason you're not winning is that you're not playing the game. You want to keep playing the same game. You don't want to start, or if you start, you stop. Yes, it's hard. It's difficult to get out of your mind and into your heart. It's difficult to let life go, to give up anger, to give up resentment and hate. It feels impossible to let go of the pain of where you came from and of the trauma of what happened to you. I know, believe me, I know. But I know that you want to win. I know you want to be a beast. Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. E.T.'s right. Doing what beasts do is hard, but it's necessary. I'm thinking of something the poet Aeschylus wrote. Even in our sleep, pain which cannot beget falls drop by drop upon the heart, until in our own despair, against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God. He's talking about pain. Pain opens up the heart. That's something Eric Thomas knows all about. You can win, but it's a heart thing, and there's some pain involved. My name is Angelo, and I'm the motivator.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you've ever wanted, one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip away?
Life is this. I like this.
I am somebody. I am somebody. I can change the world. I can change the world.
The major mistake that everybody makes is waiting. Waiting to fucking feel like it. Waiting for somebody to pick you. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for you to feel motivated. It's not coming. For the big stuff, for the hard stuff, it requires a push, always has, always will. Nobody is coming to save your ass. It is up to you. And so if you want to change anything about your life, stop sitting around and wasting your goddamn life and start pushing yourself. Whether it's a fast, or it is starting a business, or it is changing how you talk to your spouse, or it's changing the kind of parent that you are, you got one life.
As soon as you open up your eyes, understand that you enter into consciousness. It is at that moment that your creativity is at its most powerful. At that moment, you have an opportunity to steer your thoughts and your emotions in the direction that you want them to go. In other words, you can choose to seize the day, or you could let the day seize you.
It's time to stay focused. It's time to decide, fuck clubs, fuck partying, fuck trying to fit in and socialize, rub elbows with everybody so people can stop calling you weird. Why are you so antisocial? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you staying on the basketball court so much? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you out there practicing in the hot sun when ain't nobody else out there? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you not clubbing like every time I text you and invite you to go do something fun and cool, you always studying? Because I'm trying to get it. Let me tell you something, homie. These women ain't going nowhere. These clubs, these parties, all this shit ain't going nowhere. The more weird you are is a reflection of how committed you are to focusing on your shit, molding and shaping and developing your ideas and your craft so that when it's time for you to make your rounds, you gonna fly.
I think we can all agree that today, too many people wake up in the morning, and as soon as they open up their eyes, the first thing they focus on is the grueling day that they had the day before. All the things that didn't turn out the way they wanted it to go. Then they start thinking about the grueling day that lies ahead of them, the traffic jam that they have to be into. And then they can't understand why, when they're going into work, their energy level is down here. And with what you're trying to accomplish, with the responsibility that you have, it has to be up here. It has to be up here. So what I'm asking you to do, as soon as you open up your eyes, before you take the covers off, before you plant your feet on the floor, is to think of something or someone that you are totally grateful for in your life. I don't care who it is, and I don't care what it is. Maybe it's the person lying next to you. Maybe you're thinking of your children, the dog that's lying on the side of the bed, the cat that's laying on the other side of the bed. Maybe you're listening to the birds outside the window in your house. Maybe you're thinking of your home. Maybe it's a particular goal that you achieved or someone that you helped a couple of days before. Folks, it doesn't matter what it is or who it is. Just feel it with your heart and soul and keep building from there.
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years, or 3 years maybe, and I dated at Thanksgiving 1995. and I put it in my wallet, and I kept it there, and it deteriorated and stuff. But then, just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million on, I think it was Dumb and Dumber, maybe.
When you truly have a vision for your future that inspires you, you're going to jump up out of bed in the morning and feel great about going at life versus being miserable and going to a job you hate or living a life that doesn't empower you and just, every day moving through just almost like an automaton, not really, having the zest and the greatness of life.
I think that the number one thing is you have to have a very clear vision, a very clear goal of where you want to go, because only then you will get there. You can have the best airplane or the best ship in the world, but if the captain doesn't know where to go, he will just drift around. If the pilot does not know where to go, he will just drift around with his plane. So I think the key thing is that we know where we're going and that you're very passionate about that. You see it always in front of you, the goal. And the other thing that's important is that you got to shoot for the top. You got to go and really have big goals and think big, because then you're going to get big. Then you're going to go and achieve big things. That is the most important thing. We don't achieve big things by accident.
Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way. It's like it's water. It wants to move and go around stuff,
Write down everything you want to do. And I don't mean crazy shit like I'm going to be the Prince of Brunei, I'm going to have a base in the moon. Shut up. This is what I want you to do. Write down what you would like to fix about your life. And then just, if you're 30 pounds overweight, you want to lose 30 pounds? Do it the right way. Go start eating vegetables, monitor your calories, write down what you eat, exercise every day, force yourself to do it. Say you're the general. The brain is the general, the troops of the body. Get up and you do it. And then you get to write it down. And if you don't write it down, you don't eat, you don't jerk off, you don't shower. Write that shit down so you do it. Just do it. Make yourself do it. And if you do that, if you write shit down and do that, you can change who the fuck you are.
I just believe that. I believe that I can create whatever I want to create. If I can put my head on it right, study it, learn the patterns, I feel very strongly that we are who we choose to be.
So, I want to encourage you right now, don't give in, go for it. Don't give up, don't throw in the towel. And even if your back is up against the wall, even if you are on the ropes and you are receiving a rope-a-dope financially, listen, you got to fight back. You don't get in life what you want, you get what you fight for. And when you decide that my future, my health, my marriage, my freedom, my happiness, my joy, my peace, my children is worth fighting for, you are securing your breakthrough.
All right, listen and listen well, because no truer words are ever going to be fucking spoken. You can do anything you want without limitation. Whatever it is that you decide you want to make come true in your life, you can do that. It is going to take an inhuman amount of work. You're going to have to be prepared to break yourself in half. You are going to have to learn more than anyone has ever learned. You're going to have to push yourself harder than anyone has ever asked you to push yourself before. You're going to go way beyond your breaking point. You're going to run until you vomit. You're going to study until you fall asleep. You're going to push and push and push, and then you're going to push some fucking more. And when you hit the limit, you're going to push again beyond that. You're going to force yourself into an adaptation response. And why? Because as Malcolm X said, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. So if you don't put the work in today, if you don't do the unending, back-breaking work of developing yourself into something greater, the world is going to pass you by. The people that are going to own it are going to be the ones that did that work. And the one promise that I can make you right now is that somebody out there is outworking you. Somebody right now is doing the things that I'm saying. Somebody right now is doing the work of failing. and getting up and getting better and pushing themselves and triggering that glorious adaptation response that makes humans the apex predator. Someone right now, they're putting in that work. And if you don't, the future is going to belong to them. And as Martin Luther King Jr. said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. It's not okay to make excuses. It's not going to slow people down. It's not okay to ask the world to stop so that you can step out front. It's not okay to expect little of yourself and demand great rewards. The only thing that's okay is to be in line with the way that the world really works. And if you want to be great, you've got to become capable of greatness. You've got to develop your skill set. You've got to take what you have now, and if that's crawling, then fucking crawl. But you drag yourself ever forward to a vision of yourself that is so clear and so specific that nothing could knock you off your path, because you, my friend, know exactly where you're going. You're willing to pay whatever price it takes to get there. And no matter what anybody says, no matter how many fucking hecklers come for you, no matter how many people try to throw dirt on you, try to stop you, try to knock you down, no matter how many fucking people come for you at night while you sleep, you will rise and you will keep pushing forward and you will get better every day. And no matter how many times people chop at you, knock you down, knock you off the path, you will get back on. You will crawl till you can walk, you will walk till you run, and then you will run until you fly. And that, my friends, is the only path forward. So if you want a fucking future that makes you happy, if you want a world that you're excited about, get your ass out there and earn it.